Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Universal Peace Federation. My name is Ray Lapalkin, and here we're promoting interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values. And our program today is going to be from the association IMAP, which is the International Media Association for Peace, and we're going to be looking at a webinar that we recently held, and it's titled The Impact of Social Media on Marriage and Family. And if you have a family, if you have children, you should be very interested in this because I remember when I was young, of course, we used to run out and you're climbing trees and playing ball and running out around the neighborhood playing with your friends. But now so much of our children's time is spent on the internet. And of course, everybody wondering, what are they watching and what kind of impact does that have on them? So we're going to be looking at that today, is the impact that the social media has on particularly our children. And our two speakers today is Ms. Lynn Walsh. She's the director of the Universal Peace Federation Office of the Family at the United Nations. And she's also the United Nations representative for the Universal Peace Federation. So let's watch this video on the recent webinar that we had.
And I'm honored to introduce our first panelist, Lynn Walsh. Lynn has a master's in clinical social work from Fordham University and a master's in divinity from the Unification Theological Seminary. She taught sociology with an emphasis on marriage and the family at the University of Bridgeport for over 15 years and currently teaches at the Unification Theological Seminary. She serves on the executive committee of the NGO Committee on the Family at the United Nations and was twice co-chair. Lynn is also the director of the Universal Peace Federation's Office of the Family and its UN representative. She wrote chapters about the role of the family in establishing the Millennium Development Goals and Sustainable Development Goals in the Family and the MDGs and Family Capital and the SDGs, respectively. Lynn and her husband have 2 sons and 2 granddaughters. Lynn, welcome.
Thank you so much, Peggy. It's really, I appreciate so much the organization of this panel and to be on with these other 2 really stellar. I'm sorry. I just started showing my presentation.
No, you didn't know.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I did this so well in practice, didn't I? Okay. Anyway, thank you. This is an important topic. I look forward to the discussion, and here we go. Yes. Where'd it go? I did this so well before, right?
You got it there. You just have to put it in presentation.
Okay. So I'm going to talk primarily about social media, the impact of social media on marriage. And by social media, I mean kind of the broader base of digital communication. And I start out with just a real fundamental concept, basic concept of human fulfillment, that we all, move this, want, need, and deserve to belong and to be loved. But the only way we really know we are loved is when we are known deeply, not like love ya. So it really takes that marital commitment to provide the emotional safety, sexual fidelity, for that optimal development, emotional, social, moral, spiritual growth for the spouses, and that provides the most advantageous environment for children. So, but without this haven of fidelity and trust, we really can't go through the vulnerable and very imperfect process of learning how to love and be loved. So my general beginning concept. Go. So there are certainly positive parts of social media. I just got the news from our second son that the young lady that he met online, they're going to get married. So, and I was really happy to read that more than a third of U.S. marriages now begin online versus offline, which is a little bit surprising, but I was happy to hear that actually they're more lasting than those online. That's curious. And of course, we all know that it can be used to positive contact, keeping in touch with our spouse. I was away in Las Vegas getting ready to work on a project with a colleague, Ricardo, and we were kind of doing texting back and forth, making final checks. And then I thought, I'm going to check in with my husband, and I wrote him oh, I love you, I have a good night, smooch, and then I sent it to Ricardo. So don't send it to the wrong person. Of course, we know there's a lot of problems with social media. It creates this illusion of the perfect life of others, and it creates all kinds of anxiety and jealousy, depression for these kind of unattainable desires and images. And it really promotes people to present themselves inauthentically, a disguise of oneself. And certainly there's an emphasis on appearance and sex appeal. It is designed to be addictive. The CEO of Facebook, one of the CEOs of Facebook, and many of them are very strict about the use of Facebook or social media in their own homes, because they know it was designed to get you. It reduces the opportunities for developing person-to-person social skills, friendships, resolving conflicts. All these things are important to have those relationships that really matter and are rewarding. It takes time from developing ourselves through reading, developing critical thinking and dialogue, being in nature, serving others, so many things that it takes us away from. So, the impact of social media is worldwide. A lot of my data I'm going to go through is about the United States, but I wanted to include this because here it is in Ghana. The research states that couples visit social media morning, afternoon, evening, or midnight, and a large portion of couples use it for partner monitoring. This dependence on social media affects romantic relationships, arousing jealousy, straining relationships, and causing mistrust between romantic partners. So big problem. We know that social media is a big distraction when partners are together if one is on their phone. Partners report being very bothered by the time their partners spend on the phones, and arguments ensue from this issue. And of course, sometimes partners find something that is very unpleasant that their spouse might be doing. Social media certainly impacts the quality of marriage. People that use social media, let me do it in the reverse. People that do not use social media are 11% happier in their marriage than those that don't. And then there is a 31.9% chance of heavy social media users to think about leaving their spouses compared to only 16% for those that don't use. So increases divorce. This is a huge one. It provides an escape from resolving marital conflict. Marital conflict exists for two different people. But we find that a lot of unsatisfied married couples look online for new love, for solving their problems, instead of solving their problems and improving their relationship. And this is really alarming. 30% of Tinder users are married. They're looking for another relationship. So escaping the marriage is not good. It provides a deterioration of trust. Couples are spying on their partner's phones, hiding their social media messages, and some of them having secret accounts. Facebook is cited 1 out of every 5 divorces in the United States. This is from a divorce lawyer, his quote. Facebook is foreplay. Facebook facilitates adultery and infidelity generally. Facebook gives you the means, the excuse, and the cover to communicate with people you have no reason, no business to talk to. And they're the ones that have to deal with the divorce. Oh, okay. Did I do 2? No, did 1. So it reduces satisfaction and stability in marriage. Married couples that view pornography are more than twice as likely to break up. Spouses viewing porn is experienced as infidelity. And sexual partners cannot compared to the hypersexual images, so it leads to dysfunction and sexual displeasure. Again, it's attributed to breakup. I think other speakers will be talking more about pornography. This is an interesting concept about the decreased marriageability of men. This is based on research by Mark Regnerus, who's pointing out that contraception, porn, and online dating have created easy access to sex, or what he calls in his book, cheap sex. So sex divorced from conception, commitment, and meaning leads to actually men's reduced responsibility for the consequences. Now, granted, there are a lot of responsible men, but it's reduced the responsibility for the consequences of men and reduced the burden on women. And this put men in the driver's seat with a no strings attached marriage market. So we have seen an increase in young men's failure to launch. There's a decreased motivation for work or for marriage, again, with these elements of pornography and ease of relationships and no commitment. We have seen a rise in men's unemployment. Now, women are increasingly more educated. That's wonderful, but they're more educated than men. There's 2.5 million more women, I think, being educated than men. But the problem is women, of course, prefer their spouse to be at least as educated. So where are the marriageable men? And then also women have become more economic independent. Excellent, wonderful, we need that. But they also expect their husbands to contribute at least equally. And it, again, creates a problem in marriageability. So, I mean, those that are well off, it doesn't impact them so much. But the sad thing is the most that are impacted are the lower socioeconomic population. So we need not to ignore that this is a big social problem. So in general, yeah, social media decreases the opportunity to love and be loved. It decreases desire to marry in general and marriageability of males. It decreases trust and emotional faithfulness, the meaning of marital commitment, quantity and quality of time together. It decreases the kind of communication that you need to resolve the issues because you escape them, find somebody else. And it decreases the quality of sexual relationships, because comparison to porn is, you can't do that. It destroys that quality. And also certainly it destroys the bond that sexual relationships is in a marriage by creating the sexual infidelity. So what to do? Well, we need to prioritize quality time, go on social media fast. Check with your partner before you post about them or your relationship. If you wouldn't do it in person, then don't do it online. Tone and intent are harder to gauge online, so give your partner the benefit of doubt. Have ongoing conversations about social media and your relationship. John Gottman's Institute is wonderful. And also, probably most important, protect your relationship by building the positive. Make time weekly to share with and listen attentively, really listening to what that person is saying to each other. Spend enjoyable time together. Express specific appreciation. Practice acts of caring, not just talk, but do things that express appreciation. Express love with physical touch, sexual self-giving. Learn how to handle conflict constructively. It's so important. Most of us don't know how to do this, but conflict is an opportunity for deepening connection. And there's so much online for good relationship education. Why not go for it? Spend time with other married couples and family-centered communities. Get professional help early and go on for a tune-up. You take care of your car, well, take care of your marriage. Protect your children. I think the best protection for keeping our kids safe in the realm of social media is our own thriving, communicating, caring family. So with that, I just ask each of us to protect and cherish what is most important for our individual and human fulfillment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lynn. You not only told us what the problem was, but you gave us some tips about what we can do about it, which is really helpful. Thank you. And I would like to now introduce our next speaker, Madeline McElligott. She's the Communications and Social Media Specialist at the National Center for Sexual Exploitation. Madeline has a Bachelor of Science in Marketing from the University of Pittsburgh and over 5 years in social media experience. And she has a passion for upholding human dignity. Madeline's honored to contribute to the mission of ending exploitation with NCOSE. So Madeline, would you like to share your presentation with us? Good.
There we go. Sorry, Zoom was lagging a little bit. All right, so hopefully you all can see that PowerPoint. As Peggy said, my name is Madeline. I'm very excited to be here with you all today and share with you a little bit about the intersection between social media and sexual exploitation, especially as it relates to children. I come here representing the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. So we are a nonprofit dedicated to exposing the links between all forms of sexual abuse and exploitation, especially through litigation, legislation, and corporate advocacy. So I'm going to start out today with reviewing some statistics. So 97% of children use social media and the internet every day. The average number of hours they spend on digital devices per day is 4 to 7, and 1 out of 3 youth between the ages of 9 and 17 have experienced some sort of sexual interaction on social media. So kids are spending a lot of times on screens, they're spending a lot of time in social. And while there is great opportunity for learning and connecting with peers and connecting with other people, there are also a host of dangers that come along with social media. So we're going to review a few of them today. Specifically, sexual encounters, pornography exposure, and child sexual abuse material. So I'll let you go ahead and read those statistics on the screen. And while you're doing that, I just wanted to share a story about, or that really illustrates how these often are not isolated incidences. A lot of times they fuel each other, they overlap, and they're connected in some way. So for example, a child could open a Snapchat account, they could add somebody they think is another kid or a peer their age. That person's actually an adult pretending to be a child. And, that adult could start sending them pornography, perhaps even some explicit photos of themselves to desensitize them to that sort of content, to, make them think that that's normal and acceptable. And then eventually, after all that grooming has happened, they might ask the child to send child sexual abuse material and then threaten to or actually share it on social media. So that's just one example about how all of these issues are connected and how they rarely happen, like I said, as an isolated incident. And it's important to keep that in mind too, whenever we're thinking about exploitation in social media. So diving right into it, social media and sexual encounters. This is a testimony from somebody on Reddit. They said, when I was 15, I was groomed online by a man in his 30s. I thought he was my age when I met him. I met him on an app to meet other teenagers as I was very lonely. He found me and it went on from there. He sexually exploited me for nudes, sexual role play, and other things. This lasted for 2 years. So some of the main culprits when it comes to social media and sexual encounters for children are Instagram, Snapchat, and Kik. Again, I'll kind of let you read through those data points underneath. But these platforms are all, like I said, main culprits. And what's really concerning about all of them is they all have super young user bases. Kids are on all of these apps, especially apps like Kik kind of brand themselves as a kid-friendly platform, and yet they are not designed to keep those young users safe. And as you can see, they all make some sort of, top 5 list of most dangerous apps for children, normally in the first or second spot. Kik actually claims that 1/3 of American teens use the app and that 70% of their users are between the ages of 13 and 24. And yet there are basically no safety features on that app. There's a lot of exploitation. We've heard reports that it's supposedly becoming an 18 and plus platform, but we've yet to see that actually play out, and we've yet to see any announcements. So that will be interesting to see as we move forward. And then we have social media and pornography exposure. So I'll let you read that quote yourself, but there was a 2022 study of more than 1,300 teens, and it's found that nearly 3 in 4 of them had viewed pornography. Out of those that had, over half of them first saw online porn at the age of 13 or younger. And it's important to remember that this pornography is also often comprised of violent, abusive, degrading, and racist depictions of sex acts. It can disrupt natural, child sexual development. It can serve as a first form of sex education, which is very concerning. And then childhood pornography exposure, which actually can be considered a form of child abuse, is also a catalyst for a lot of other in-person harm, including child-on-child sexual behavior. So some of the main culprits here, again, Instagram and Snapchat make the list. Reddit is also a big problem area with this. And again, these apps, Instagram and Snapchat, have very young user bases, and they are not built for children. A lot of automatic safety features are not in place. And Reddit has a very low barrier to entry, if any at all. You actually don't even need to be logged into a Reddit account to see a lot of the subreddits and to read through a lot of the threads that often incorporate explicit content and a lot of other problematic content, violence, etc. So Reddit also announced some changes recently that they are going to be limiting access through third-party accounts to explicit content. So in effect, this would make it impossible to view porn on Reddit through an unofficial app. It goes into effect July 1st, I believe. So again, we kind of have yet to see how effective that will be and how much of an impact it makes, but definitely keeping an eye on that, because if it's successful, it will make an impact on how people, especially kids, are able to access that explicit content. And then we have social media and child sexual abuse material, otherwise known as CSAM. Again, I'll just read this testimony. When I was 16, 2 guys online distributed nude photos of me without my permission to other people I knew, along with my family. It happened over a gaming system. They pressured me for nudes, and I kept pleading no. They would then tell me stuff like, people on the internet do it all the time. Please, this isn't second grade, just general stuff to make me feel insecure. So 3 social media platforms that, again, have big problems with this are Twitter, Discord, and TikTok. The Nkosi Law Center, we actually have a lawsuit against Twitter for hosting and facilitating and even profiting off of CSAM. Recently, there was a hearing at the Court of Appeals for the 9th Circuit District, and a judge actually said Twitter was asked to take down child sexual abuse material, and Twitter said, we've looked at it and we're not taking it down. Discord, the #2 app where child sexual abuse sharing happens on social media, according to parents. And then TikTok as well. And TikTok actually does have some features that other social media platforms don't have when it relates to child safety, but just back in November, there was a Forbes article published with the title, "These TikTok accounts are hiding child sexual abuse material in plain sight." And it outlined some pretty disturbing trends with child predators, where there would be a private account, CSAM would be uploaded there, they would share the password and log into the accounts and upload more content. And it's very disturbing. So again, lots of problems here, and it's very concerning. And then there are other types of exploitation, obviously, that flourish on social media, even outside of the realm of child protection. Image-based sexual abuse is a huge problem. So that's also referred to as IBSA. It's kind of an umbrella term that covers a lot of different types of abuse, but essentially it's any form of explicit content that was created or shared without consent. So you might have heard the term revenge porn. That would fall under IBSA. That's typically when an ex-partner perhaps shares a nude image without consent. It can include, images or videos that were secretly recorded or made without consent in that sense. And even deepfake pornography, which is totally fake. It's using technology to put somebody's face on a porn video. That that type of technology is actually very accessible and it's becoming a very big problem online. So IBSA is very concerning when it comes to social media. And then sex trafficking as well. There was an analysis of sex trafficking cases in 2020, and it found that the most common means by which sex traffickers access victims was the internet. And 65% of child victims were recruited via social media. And out of those 65%, they were recruited on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. So again, trafficking, all of these issues are so interrelated and overlap and fuel each other. So when we're thinking of solutions, it's important to think of holistic ones because they do all just kind of become entangled in each other. Okay, so I just outlined a bunch of really horrible things, but the good news is there is hope. What can be done? One, we can hold these platforms accountable. Nicosi's Dirty Dozen list is a great place to start. Every year we publish 12 entities that are main contributors to sexual abuse and exploitation in one way or another. The 2023 list was just released in May, so it's been almost 2 months. And we have a lot of actions that you can take online. You can sign petitions, you can send an email directly to company executives or shareholders, and it outlines what needs to change and what changes the companies can make to create safer platforms. So we do have the power to hold these companies accountable. Second, advocate for child-centered policies. There are a lot of great child protection legislation floating around Congress right now. The Earn It Act and the Kids Online Safety Act are two solutions that we're really excited about at Nicosi. So contact your legislators, make your voice heard, make sure that your reps know that these are priority legislations that you want to see pushed through. And then lastly, educate yourself and your children, know what apps your kids are on, be on them yourself, know how they work. And then have age-appropriate conversations about potential dangers online. Probably delay social media for as long as you can. I know that's so hard in this day and age. So when your kids are on social, just, have honest conversations about them and give them the tools that they need to be able to handle various situations. Obviously, best case scenario, they're on platforms that are built with their safety as priority, but that's just not the reality right now. So we have to give our kids the tools that they need to be able to identify sketchy situations and get out of them and let an adult know. So you can find more information and resources at endsexualexploitation.org. You can find more information about the Dirty Dozen list at dirtydozenlist.com. And that's all I have for you today. Here are all the sources in case you're interested in looking at any of the studies. So thank you. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madeline. Wow, that's a lot to take in. Very scary for parents of teenagers or even younger, right?
Yeah, it can be scary. But like I said, there is hope. Changes do happen and they are made. We just have to keep on pressing on these tech companies to continue to make those changes.
And thanks for sharing some of the things that Nicosi's doing to combat this. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that presentation. The second speaker that we looked at that you saw was Miss Madeline McElligott. She's the Communication and Social Media Specialist at the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. So I know sometimes it's very frightening even just to see some of the statistics and what our children are seeing and the impact that it has on their lives. So this is really something that should be addressed, and as Ms. McElligott mentioned, part of their office is talking with corporations to try to be more sensitive to what they're presenting, as well as passing legislation to protect young adults and children. So again, if this resonates, these things with you, these ideas, please get in touch with us. We are going to have other conferences on these topics as well. And you can find out more at our website, us.upf.org, or at the end of the program, we have our contact information up. You can look at that as well. And I'd like to also offer complimentary copies of the autobiographies of our co-founders, Reverend Moon and his wife, Dr. Hak Jahan Moon. So if you'd like a copy of that, please get in touch with one of us and we will get it out to you. So thank you so much for being with us today.